Let's do it.
Stellan, thank you so much for coming on today. And of course, I'm very proud to be a part of the Ageless Docu-series, but I'm also excited to get it out there to my audience because anti-aging is a huge passion of mine. I think it's tied into every single person in my audience, listener, every single patient that I work with, and including myself. We all want to anti-age. So this, I mean, you and I were talking off camera, this docu-series, I think we both agree, is going to be huge. It is going to have such an enormous impact on so many people. I am just super excited about it. So I want to start off by asking you, what made you put all of your time and effort and heart into producing this Ageless docu-series?
Well, first, Amy, thank you so much for the invitation to be in your podcast. It's been a pleasure also working with you because you're one of our 50 speakers from the docu-series. The topic of aging I think is very hot right now. People are super interested around the world on what they can do to slow down aging, or especially premature aging. And then there's this belief in our society that as we get older, we're supposed to start getting low energy, start experiencing brain fog, cognitive decline, muscle pain, aches, all those different symptoms that and our experts, we call them, they're symptoms of premature aging, but they're not a normal part of aging, right? And I think one of the reason why we have this belief is because the facts are over about 90% of Americans over 65 years old, they have at least one chronic disease. And about 80% of Americans who are 65 years older have two or more chronic diseases. So the situation is actually really bad. So that's why people think, oh yeah, when I get older, I'm supposed to start being on medications. I know many people who are on like 15, 20 medications relying to help with those symptoms. It's fine to have all those different, again, aches and low energy and brain fog, but there's so many things people can do to either prevent that if you actually take action early, like if you're in your 30s or 40s or even 50s, or if you're already experiencing many of those symptoms, you can actually reverse that. You can reverse diseases naturally. You can reverse all these symptoms with, taking lifestyle changes, taking dietary changes. There's so many things you can do to do that naturally. So this kind of inspired me back, like I would say probably a year and a half or maybe 2 years ago, to do a docu-series like that. Obviously, it took a while until we kind of found the best experts we can do. Also, I met this guy, his name is Ivan. He's 80 years old back then. Now he's probably 100 and something years old. This guy, I'm from Bulgaria originally, he's from Bulgaria. And this guy, in front of my eyes, I met him on the Black Sea in Bulgaria. He swam 5 kilometers in one day. So he does this every summer. He does it every day. In the winter, I skied with him in the mountain at the age of 98 back then. So this guy hasn't taken a single aspirin in over 30 years. This guy hasn't been sick in decades. Super active, no pains, no energy, high energy levels. He's even sexually active, if you believe it or not. So I was like, if this guy can do it, why not everybody else cannot do it too? So, I've met a couple of those, people from although he's not from the blue zone, blue zone regions, but he's kind of an example of a person from those regions. By the way, for whoever doesn't know, the blue zones are these 5 places around the world where people are living consistently up to 90, 100 years old and beyond, completely disease-free. Mm-hmm. So, and we talk about that in our docu-series. So yeah, I've met a couple of those people here in Bulgaria. And I just wanted to share all those different experiences and share what all the 50 experts have to say based on their perspectives, clinical research, innovative therapies that have developed, many of them, and natural approaches to slow down the aging process, to halt and even reverse diseases and help the body to regenerate so that people can live again, the last 20, 30 or 50 years of their lives, vibrant and with high energy and completely disease-free.
I absolutely love that. And you're saying so much of what I always say as well to my audience, is that you don't have to give into age. Like as we age, okay, hormones are going to decline. I'm going to be on medications. I'm going to be on statins and blood pressure meds. And then I'm going to need a heart medication. And you don't have to. We don't have to throw in the towel just because time is ticking. And I think that's what this docuseries is proving and showing to everyone who dives in and watches it, which I encourage absolutely every single person to do, because it is possible. And I think showing even that story of the man that you met, 98 years old, swimming, skiing, I mean, not even an aspirin, that is proof positive that this is possible. And like you said, he's outside of the blue region. So it's not like he's in this magical bubble where all the people just don't age. He is his own experiment. He's proof positive that we can all do it as well. And I love that.
Absolutely. And I also want to kind of mention here something about that also kind of blew my mind, that I think people need to understand when we talk about aging is there are two different types of age. So we have the chronological age, which is the day that you have on your ID. In my case, I'm 34 years old. And then there's the biological or physiological age, which is the actual age that is the interiors of your body, and also the exterior, the outside, right? So we've all seen those people that we haven't met in 10 or 20 years, and you're like, wow, that person really aged really fast, right? She looks so much older than they actually are. Yeah. Or vice versa, you meet somebody like, wow, this person looks so young, and they're like 50 years old. So let's say my biological age is 31. So actually I'm 3 years younger than what my chronological age is. There's actually many devices that can measure your biological age. I measured mine at the A4M. It's a single device that measures your something called Aegis, which is advanced glycated end products, which is these bad derivatives that pretty much we don't want them in our body. And based on that and your chronological age, they're telling you what your biological age is. There's different devices you can actually measure easily your biological age, but that will kind of give you a starting point to know, am I aging faster? Am I aging slower? Should I do something about it? Or at least what else I can do to prevent accelerated aging, right? One of our experts, Robbie Bessner, he's I mean, it's mind-blowing when you see him, because his chronological age is 68 and his biological age is 45. So he's 23 years younger than what he actually is. And when you see him, his skin is so like perfect and like no wrinkles, nothing, full, thick hair. And he just only has white hair just because that's his genes, but he's 68 years old. But he's just so, full of energy and vibrant, vibrancy. So yeah, this is a proof that you can age gracefully, and actually not just gracefully, but as JJ Virgins say, powerfully, right? Some of our experts, they say now they're in their 50s or 60s or 70s, and they feel at their best. They feel with more energy, with like no pains, with more desire to live, than ever before, with absolutely no problems. So again, it's absolutely possible to not only prevent, but also to reverse premature aging. And we are revealing all the secrets of our experts inside the Ageless Docu-series.
And I'm glad that you mentioned the aesthetic appearance as well, because I think too many times we hear, and we've heard this from Dave Asprey over the years, that I'm going to live to 100. Well, okay, I'm down for living to 100, but I want to look like I'm 20 to 30 years younger all the time, right? So it's not just about the inside. Of course, the inside is important. If you're dealing with inflammation, chronic disease, there's something going on metabolically, internally, at the mitochondrial level that is aging you faster. And of course, that's going to show in our skin, in our appearance. And like you said with Robbie, like the thickness of your hair, the glowiness of your skin. But that's the important thing, I think, to take home, is that not only will you feel, not only can you feel young and vibrant and still want sex and be sexually active in your 90s and be active in skiing and swimming, but you can also look the part. And I love that you dive into the beauty in the skin, and of course me with hormones and eating and nutrition and peptides and all the things that we can do and implement to actually appear younger as well.
Absolutely. And we talk a lot about toxins too, because toxins is such a huge trigger for aging of the skin and the body. I did a whole docu-series. I produced a whole docu-series called Toxin Free. So I'm also super passionate about that whole topic. And it's just mind-blowing, some of the things that our experts shared. For instance, Brian Vaisley, he's an expert in skin health, and there's 3,000 chemicals that are banned in the European Union that are still totally legal to use in the USA. So people are unknowingly putting so much toxins on their skin, that are labeled as things like perfume or fragrance. That is actually, you can put literally fragrance on any of those chemicals that are bad for your body, that are hormonal disruptors, that are carcinogens and all kinds of causing other problems, without actually knowing it, thinking that this is a healthy skin lotion, right?
Yeah.
And we are constantly bombarded in all kinds of forms, from the food we eat, to the water we drink, to the things we put in our skin. And we talk a lot about what we can do to decrease the toxic exposure, because most of us, we do live in a big city, so we're constantly bombarded by these toxins. But there's so many things we can do to prevent that and to decrease it, so that we can, as you said, look vibrant and with glowing skin until very late age.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, I would argue, even in their 30s and 40s, start to feel the aging process at that point of time in their life. And that's way too young to start throwing in the towel and dealing with the muscle aches, the loss of eyesight, the brain fog, the skin deterioration, the premature wrinkling, all of that. It's way too young. So when we're seeing that at such an early age, and I see this with my patient population too, 30s and 40s, hormonal decline is starting. Some women
Absolutely.
are having ovarian failure and going into menopause at earlier and earlier ages now. And I think that's a direct product of how we take care of ourselves, what we put on our bodies, what we put in our bodies, how we think, how we move. And you go over all of that in this docu-series. I mean, you've really packed it full of information. And in my opinion, I'll just speak and I'll let you bounce off of this. In my opinion, you are doing something a little bit different than what we see in most docu-series or summits. You're actually giving people items, steps, actionable items, things that they can do. It's not just information and go seek out this expert and work with them. It's no, listen to this docu-series and you will leave with things that you can implement right now.
Absolutely. You said it so well. Knowledge, there was a saying, I think it was something like, knowledge without a true action plan goes nowhere, right? So we do talk about the knowledge and we educate people, but we also give them a specific action plan, what they can do. And I can give you just a few examples. For instance, one of our speakers is Dr. Joe Kahn. He's one of the top in the world preventative cardiologists. I mean, the things he was talking about, heart attack and stroke, as most people know, cardiovascular disease and is the number one cause of death in the world. And he's saying something that just blew my mind, that you can be walking completely symptom-free on the street and you can be, a stroke or a heart attack can be waiting you around the corner. He's saying how there are patients, because when they go to the conventional doctors, they usually test them for like, what's your blood pressure, the markers like cholesterol levels, triglycerides, and so on. And he said there are people who have totally normal and fine and healthy blood pressure and healthy blood pressure, healthy cholesterol levels, but the inside of their arteries are super bad. They're aging very quickly. They have plaque and they literally can get a heart attack at any moment. While there are other people who have high blood pressure, high cholesterol levels and triglycerides, and they have very healthy aging arteries with absolutely no plaque, which I know makes no sense, but sometimes that may be the case. So for instance, what I learned from him and what I did right after I interviewed him, to be honest, is literally you can go book an appointment to get ultrasound to see what's the interior of your arteries and on the legs as well, because you can get a stroke on the legs, and also or get a CT scan, and both cost like $50 even without any insurance. And you can know what's the age of your arteries and what you can do to prevent an upcoming, maybe a heart attack or stroke, which is again the number one cause of death. So there's so many things. He said every person should do that. So this is an actionable thing I learned, and I went there and I did it. So there's so many of those kind of little advice and actionable tips that we give and our experts give in the docu-series that I'm sure everybody will relate in one or another way.
Absolutely. No matter what age you are. I mean, you could even be in your 30s and you're just getting this information. I wish I had this information in my 30s so I could have started then really making changes, but it doesn't matter how old you are to start implementing the things that you will learn in this docu-series and start reversing the aging process. And like you say, I mean, and I love how you focus on how people are feeling. It is about being able to have a clear mind, clear thoughts, being able to play with your kids, your grandkids, you know, travel, live the best years of your life, live with purpose, age with confidence.
Yes.
It's all of that combined together. It's not just, again, it's not just about preventing heart attacks, but that's really important. It's about
Yeah,
living your best life moving forward, no matter what age you are.
absolutely. I mean, being healthy is like the number, in my opinion, like the basis of life in order to be happy, right? You cannot be really completely happy and self-confident if you're not healthy. And also if you don't also look healthy and you don't love your body, again, which is, there's so many things you can do to prevent, you know, getting weight gain, which is also another associated symptom of aging, for instance, and slow metabolism and those kind of things. So yeah, there's so many things people can do to live at their best lives and spend the time not in hospitals and with doctor's appointments, but actually spend the time with their loved ones, right? And we do give those tools and action plans in Ageless. So I'm excited for your audience to watch the series. It's they can register for the free screening, and the world premiere is on October 2nd. They just register with an email and they can get access to all 10 episodes for absolutely free. And I hope they will. I think it will be life-changing for them. So I'm really excited for all of them to watch it.
Yes, I do too. I do too. I'm pushing everyone to do so because it can, even if you are on a journey right now of, let's say, really focused on your hormones and optimizing those, or you're focused on and you're starting to use peptides and you're using those for anti-aging, watching this will just bring it all together so that you can stack therapies and techniques and lifestyle changes on top of each other and get the most bang for your buck and get the most reward for your efforts. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
And there's so many things people can do even without, to be honest, even without paying a single dollar on any therapy, because many
true.
of the therapies we share, actually, they're even like free. They can do, you know, some of them on their own, even like simple things, being with nature, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm excited. As you mentioned about the hormones, we have a whole episode on hormones. There's just some mind-blowing things we talk about. We have a whole episode on intimacy. It's a very it's not very spread topic because people don't feel very comfortable to talk about intimacy and sexual activity, but it's such a crucial component of aging healthy. So we have a whole episode about things that it just blew my mind, and I learned so much from that. So I think we kind of give people the opportunity to learn more about that in a very comfortable way, without feeling actually uncomfortable, to watch that with their love partners, right?
Right.
So yeah, I'm very excited for everybody to watch the series.
And intimacy is so important. That's part of youth too. So yes, you're
Of
talking about,
course.
I mean, you go over metabolism and bone and hormones and, like you said, intimacy and biohacking techniques and cardiovascular health. And I mean, you touch on every single topic. So I'm super excited for this. We'll put the link in the show notes so everyone can register and view this for free starting in October. And then you're just going to change the world, Stefan. You're just changing the world. So I thank you for your time and your effort in this project, because it's a big undertaking for you and it's giving a gift to the world. It really is.
Thank you. And we couldn't have done this without you and all of our 49 experts. So thank you so much for being part of it.
Absolutely. And thank you too.